Is another installment of Martha Fix My Business, and I am here with Tina, and what we're going to do, we're just going to jump right into it. And what this is, basically, you guys, just so you know, is this is what I do in my one-on-one strategy session. So we figure out what you're doing, where your problem is, and we drill down, we dive in to figure out how to shake some stuff loose that then produces some actionable things that you can do that day to then create results for yourself. So without any further ado, Tina, thank you for joining me this morning. I appreciate you coming on and being so, vulnerable to be able to, this is brave stuff to go public with with what you're working with. So thank you, Tina. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Martha. This is such a great opportunity. I got to tell you, it's amazing. As a life coach, one of my big values is that I want to be an answer to prayer for other people. And you are my answer to prayer today. You are doing that for me by being here and answering my questions. So thank you. Thank you.
I love it. Okay, man, we're starting off good. All right, Tina, so tell us what you do and then follow it up with what is your pain point? What's the thing keeping you up at night right now?
Sure. So I guide women on a journey. They go from where they are right now, their point A, to point B, where they're called to be.
Okay.
And I do that by uprooting all their self-doubt and by really cultivating the growth that they want to have in all the areas of their life.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And so what is the pain point that you're having right now? What's kind of like, if only I could get this thing right, what is that?
So definitely it's better defining my person because I know that I'm really broad and I know everyone says to niche down. But for me, as a certified OLA life coach, we really do cover the 7 key areas of life. Plus, I've added on some strategic transformation type stuff from Tony Robbins. I'm in his mastery program and in his leadership academy. And so I've layered on a whole bunch of stuff. But as a result, it's kind of hard for me to figure out exactly what it is that I do to help people because for me, it's very intuitive. I have a lot of life experience. I'm a teacher in my background. And what I do is really work one-on-one with a person and kind of see them where they're at. And then I create a personalized program for them. And as a result, that's hard to then say, here's the problem I solve for you, because they may not even really know their problem yet, especially when we're dealing with worth and self-confidence.
Yeah. Okay. I get that. Well, there's 2 things that you need to be specific with, and you can work in a business. You can be okay just being specific with one of them. Okay. You can either be specific with who you work with, very specific, or you need to be very specific with what you do for them. Okay. When you're specific with both, yes, you have fireworks, but you definitely need to be specific with one. So if you are at this point having a hard time being specific with precisely what you do, like the journey you take them on, then the specificity needs to be who you take on the journey. And so my question for you is, which do you want to drill down on? Because we can choose one or the other. The specificity probably of who you're going to work with is going to be better for lead gen or lead generation or people coming to you.
Sure.
If that's what you want to focus on.
Sure. Actually, I've got a community with about 600 people in it now.
Okay.
So the lead, I'm bringing people in.
Okay.
It's very broad still. And then I'm trying to drill down within the community, but I think that's where I am failing is the exact value. So if we actually go to the other part, because I say women, it's really wise moms in their 50s, either just starting there but they're kind of on the other end of where you are. So like if you'd been in my life 10 years before, like in my younger world, now we're on the other end of this where we've given all of ourselves to our kids and our family and our jobs, but we're recognizing that desire in our heart is still unfulfilled. And we want to, like for me, I have adult children. I have a lot of adult children, and I want to prove to them that mom just wasn't a workaholic. I have a purpose and a lot of good stuff in my background too. And I want to show them that life can be easy. It doesn't have to be what they saw growing up.
Yes. I love it. So you already have the one, really, which is great. So now let's work on the second one, because that's perfect. Okay. So let's talk about one person. Let's think of one person that you've worked with, beginning to end, soup to nuts, and they were just such a flippin' joy to work with. They're like one of your favorite people you've worked with. You don't have to say their name. We don't need to make anybody else feel bad. But just think of that individual, and what did you help them do specifically?
So this particular individual, it was all about self-love. She came in with all the things are wrong. In fact, she came in with, it was a relationship problem and she had to get out of her marriage and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, we really worked on how can you love yourself better, be a better you into, not just into relationship, but bring who you are into who you want to be into that relationship. And she has said nothing but just that little bit of work we did on self-love and owning herself has changed her trajectory and her future.
Ugh. So where would you say she was when you met her in her trajectory, in her journey? What was she sort of feeling at that point in time?
Lots of stress, lots of, I'm not really meant for greatness. I really use the tagline from ULA, designed by God for greatness and a purpose.
That's
mostly
biblical.
because I didn't believe it when I started it. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't even believe that there was greatness in me. And so I really worked with her on that, those belief systems that all the negative voices we hear.
So if I just want to drill into this because this is how we know what messaging works. If she was experiencing lots of stress and she didn't feel like she was meant for greatness, my curiosity is, why did she double down on herself then? What was the thing? What was the catalyst that made her think, okay, I'm going to do this for me? What was that, do you think?
See, I call it your inner winner. And that's just inside of you. You've got this champion, this person that knows they're meant to be a winner or they're going to be someday, but yet your life doesn't really show you that, but you know it. It's like, Oprah Winfrey said she always knew she was destined for greatness.
Yep.
And when I heard that, I cried because I thought, I knew that too. I was that little girl that knew that. And then there was this point in my life where I looked back and I went, it's not happening.
Yep.
And I had to completely change everything. That's what the ULA framework did for me.
Yeah.
To just totally say, nope, I'm not going to live a life of regrets. I am going to push myself to do to honor me, to know what I'm supposed to do inside.
Oh, 100%. So what do you think because I agree with that. There's a lot, that's almost any autobiography or biography of anyone notable is going to share that. They're going to share that they always saw it and they always knew it. What did you say though to her? What made her, so did she do a one-on-one with you? Did she join a program with you? What did she actually jump into first of all?
I do a 4-week transformation and we work together one-on-one and just really drill into the voices they're hearing. I help them jump into a persona that feels more comfortable to them, that kind of who they want to be in the future. And then we embrace stepping into that role.
Yeah.
This is funny. And maybe you can speak to this, but I've been a teacher forever and a presenter and so on. And I always just kind of call on God to say, can you help me say the thing that I'm meant to say?
That's what I pray every morning. That's my make me a Moses prayer. Yeah.
And so it makes it really hard to like define what you do when it's just, I'm letting God speak through me. And so I don't really know what I do but people always tell me you said the right thing, or that was exactly what I needed to hear. And I'm just being the person that it's channeling through.
Yeah. So first of all, I get that. I live that. What I would suggest using, I have a free tool. You get it at marthaekrejci.com/tool. So marthaekrejci.com/tool for anybody watching too. That's where you're going to be able to track what you've done, what you've said, to the results that happened from it. Okay?
Okay.
So then you can utilize this stuff that is just very intuitive and natural and flowing for us. Sometimes it's a social media post or it was a video that you did, but you can track that that's what happened, that day. And then you then track lagging results, lagging indicators,
Okay.
to be able to tell where they came back from. And so then you would know what you had said that then
Okay.
had her. So my first thing would actually be to go to whoever this woman is and
Right.
just ask her these questions. Ask her why she joined your 4-week program, why she joined that, why she decided to double down on herself. Because if she is your dream client, if she is your person that you loved working with, you need to know what cracked the shell. You need to know what came through to her, so then you can duplicate that and then be able to bring more hers into your programs, okay? So that's your first actionable thing to do today, is to reach out to her and just short interview style. Really, it's not even short interview. Just ask her, hey, you know what? You really are, and tell her, be transparent. I'm like the queen of transparency. What you see is what you get. And so I would even message her and say, you know what? I've determined you are like the favorite person that I have ever worked with. And my curiosity, my question is, what made you decide to come into my program? And just let her answer. And then that's going to give you your information that you need to be able to structure your messaging to get more hers into your world. It's going to be as simple as that, quite frankly. It really is. A lot of times we put a question mark out there and we're like, I don't know. And we're like, well, we could get the data. And it's really just going and finding out what it is from her.
Sure.
Do you have any questions around that?
No, I think I'm going to find it's probably, from what I've heard from other people too, it's probably the caring. I do a lot of encouragement and support. It's almost like I see their greatness before they do. I hold that space for them.
Yes. I would ask even more specific questions, because that's not going to give you enough information. So I would ask more specific questions of like, do you remember the day that you decided to say yes? And then ask if she did or not. And if she did, she probably does. Say like, what happened that day? What was different that day from every other day? This is where we get very, very specific. Like just, we can't go with, the thing we can't do with is we can't go with like overarching sort of generalized stuff, because we're not going to get what we want out of that. So you're really great in that you're specific with who your woman is. Fantastic. Love it. And then if we're specific with what made her move into your stuff, not only do we know who she is, but what made her move into your stuff. Now that's where fireworks happen, when we're so specific on both of those points, right? And so that's honestly, that is your answer. That's your answer for today, is just going and finding that out from her, and then creating that environment, right? Recreating what happened to her that day, recreating it en masse in your lead group again. And then have it be sort of a hand-raising moment. If you can even turn that thing that turned her or brought her into your program, if you can even turn that into, maybe it's a lead magnet or a freebie or something, turn it into a hand-raising moment for people, and then have that be the beginning of your conversations to bring them into the next 4-week. I would set up another 4-week here pretty soon if you haven't already. And then have them do a hand-raising moment, and maybe even start the next 4-week in 2 weeks. Allow a 2-week ramp up.
Okay. I have a question on, so I know you've been doing the bank code stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm a KN, which they're very close. I think they switched randomly. And then a BA.
So you're KNBA or NKBA?
Yep. And then, so when I'm looking for my clients, because I'm really finding this personality stuff interesting, am I looking for someone that's also a K? Like, do I speak best to Ks because that's my natural, or do I just try to speak to all of them?
You try to, first of all, you try to know who the human is if you're in a one-on-one conversation. So now that I know that you're KN, I know to give you all of the data. I know to give you the information so that you can support your people, right? Like that's what matters to you, and which actually helps because I did just literally give you the step-by-step, like here's the thing to do. So I naturally already spoke to you. So that's, it's not that, well, first of all, we do naturally speak to our people. So I'm ANKB. We do naturally speak to our people, the best, or just by nature, just being us is going to speak to our people. But the gold, the platinum in all of this is to know who your people are, and then to be able to speak their language, and to be able to step outside of yourself and what matters to you, and to be able to speak to what matters to them. Case in point, today I had an email. I have a really big meeting today at 1 o'clock. And I was sending, they are a they're KN BA also. So that's, so I was sending an email to them, and as I sent the email, and it was just like a reminder to do something, but I didn't want to come across bossy or whatever. And so I ran it through the AI, and it was like your N was really high, your K was like a third of that, and then my A and my B were just flatlined almost, which was okay. But then I was like, let me make it a little bit better. And so I went in and I added some more geeky, nerdy stuff. And then I ran it through the AI again. And then my N was high, my K was almost as high. My A and B were almost flatlined. And I'm like, I go with that email. So that's the thing, is being able to speak their language. That's the important thing. Now, whenever we're like this and we're speaking publicly, you can't just speak, you can just speak one language if you want, but it's really wise to be able to touch on all of them. So you'll see, like, most of my emails that get sent out, and most mass communication that I do, I run it through the AI, and you're going to see an almost across the board, that they're heavy almost across the board. Like there's an equal load balancing of sorts, where it's going to be able to reach all of the people, right? And so that's whenever it's like, either if it's video, it's just kind of remembering, okay, am I touching on all these points? Or if it's an email or something in text, just run it through the AI and make sure you're hitting all points. That's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Martha.
Oh man, you got it. Well, shoot. Thank you for coming on again and being brave and vulnerable to talk about your stuff. I love what you're doing, and I look forward to hearing back from you on how this worked for you, being able to find out, the information from your person and then be able to repackage it. And I would totally get that tool. Seriously, that tool is going to help. It's going to help put a wireframe around the intuitive model that you have. And so it's, when we have systems and processes, it helps us move, right? So anyway, Tina, thank you so much. Everybody, you have the best day. If you guys ever want, to get like a one-on-one, you can go to withmartha.com. You can go to one-on-one, or you can go to Business Strategist. My business strategists have been trained by me to do one-on-ones the same way. Sonia said, what is AI? Sonia, if you are in my group, Families Creating Legacies, go ahead and poke around in there. We've done some stuff, and I'm actually going to be doing a video today on how to use the AI. So I'll give you a whole rundown on it. So make sure you're in Families Creating Legacy. And yeah, I see. What is the AI tool? Families Creating Legacies, guys. Families Creating Legacies. Get in there. I'm going to be using it for you today. So everybody have the best day. I will see you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.